Welcome to the Force Always. My name is Diz, aka David Zammit. Let's get on with the show with the news, the views, the reviews, and interviews. Now, you may be wondering why I'm sitting on such an angle. Well, a special surprise later in the show, but let's get on with the news. So, the Grogu and Mandalorian, or I should say, the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer has not come on Christmas Day here in Australia, but we still have Christmas Day hitting the rest of the world. That's in the next 24 to 48 hours. So it could hit. That's just my prediction. That's not real news. That's just a prediction that I have. Anyway, just keep browsing the net for the possible trailer. If it doesn't happen, well, we're just going to keep rocking. Now, the other news of today is Ahsoka has been completely dropped from the 2026 lineup at this stage. It's important to know that it's at this stage. It could be announced sometime in the early part of the year. May the 4th could be a possibility, as that's a big Star Wars day, but watch out for that. Anyway, that's the news for this time around. Let's get on with the views. Views is my story ideas where I tell you every single time I accept the story for what it is. Star Wars from the start to finish. From the start to finish. That is from The Acolyte that a lot of people don't, part of the people don't like, all the way to Episode 9, the Rise of Skywalker. So not many people like that one either, but I accept the story, what it is, because it's a bit of fun. Anyway, so my story idea this time around is to do with some comments made by Luke himself, which is Mark Hamill. He tried to explain a reasoning why Luke died in Episode 8, and he described it as being an overdose of the Force. For me, as a story idea, which is not my story idea, but it's to interpret that story idea and to validate it, I think it makes sense. The extreme amount of force in that fantasy world would have created such a thing to happen. He was old, he was fragile, and vulnerable to the elements, like all of us, sort of simulating life. That's what I think. I think it's a good idea. For me, I think the death of Luke Skywalker should have happened in Episode 9, but for it to happen in Episode 8, the element of surprise, I think, is fine. It's always the middle chapter to trilogies that causes some shock. Classic, I Am Your Father in Empire Strikes Back, which was the middle part to that particular trilogy, which is the original trilogy, which is Episode 5, which is Empire Strikes Back, just to let you know. Anyway, so my story idea, which is someone else's story idea, to accept the overdose in the Force, Luke Skywalker, that is the character, I think is a good idea. I accept that story. Anyway, so that's pretty much the views for this time around. Let's get on with the reviews. Reviews is once again something different. Now we've passed the whole Force Awakens 10-year anniversary, so we're moving on from that, and we've got... Now, this is what you call a fan photo. A fan photo that you usually get taken at Star Wars Celebration. Let me highly suggest these fan photos are a whole lot of fun, but when I say a split second, that photo is taken, it's a split second. Have the idea ready and rehearsed within yourself and how you want it to look, because this is the one photo you get. If it's bad, that's it. You paid a lot of money for this. Now, this particular actor, if you look closely, is actually Ahmed Best, who played Jar Jar Binks. Now, it's funny, in this photo, I got him to hold the lightsaber, and I said to her, I actually directed this guy. I said, listen, do you mind holding it like you were a Jedi? And years later, can you believe it, he as an actor acted as another Jedi in the Star Wars saga other than being Jar Jar Binks, which is not a Jedi, but he got to play a role in the period of when the Jedi were escaping in Revenge of the Sith, not in the actual movie, but in a standalone TV show. I can't remember which one. It could have been Mandalorian. It could have been Ahsoka. I think it's more Mandalorian. He was in it, and he's a Jedi. And it's funny, I'm training him to be a Jedi, just looking, amazed at him holding the lightsaber. That lightsaber is the Anakin lightsaber that I've got, Anakin Skywalker. I hold it very highly prized, which I'll show you one time in the future, which I have, I think, before. But it's now signed by Anakin Skywalker. That is Hayden Christensen. Anyway, this photo for me, for the emotional, because I was quite emotional meeting this guy. He's just an inspiration. He survived suicide, this guy. He really was down in the dumps because of the hate of his character. It really caused him some anguish. And the fact that I got to meet this guy, I'm giving this a 9.5 out of 10. Great person, really good listener, gentle person in person when I got to meet this guy. I also got his autograph too. But anyway, that is my review for this time around. And check that one out. And I highly suggest getting a fan photo, but just plan ahead in what you're going to do in that photo. Because I'm telling you that you're in and out really quickly. Anyway, so let's get now, we're going to have a special guest. Can you believe this? A special guest is in the building. Please make yourself present. Here he is. And I'll just mic him up before anything we go ahead.
Hello.
Well, put the mic on first. This is a special Christmas Day surprise. This is Michael from Werribee South. Now, they all don't wear this really canary-looking yellow over there. They usually wear blacks. Usually sort of, I don't know, maybe robbing and stealing in Werribee South. I don't know, maybe that could be happening. But this is Michael from Werribee South. How are you going?
Yeah, good.
Merry
Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you
Merry
and
Christmas.
everyone out there. Now, listen, what have you done today?
Come and see you.
And I must add, he's eaten a whole bag of chips that I maybe had a couple. He's already got some. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
Anyway, look, so we're sort of halfway through the Christmas Day here. We're about midday here. But anyway, so I'm going to ask Michael two questions. And then we're going to go through the questions that have been sent and comments that have been sent. So the first question to Michael is, tell me what you like about Star Wars.
I just like the good and evil aspects of Star Wars, and I'm slowly getting more and more interested as time goes. Just picking up little bits and pieces here and there and trying to put it all together. And yeah, that's it.
So tell me, if you're getting into it, you must have developed a favourite character. What is a standout character for you?
Luke Skywalker.
Luke Skywalker. Can you give me a reason why?
Just his presence. His confidence and like the way he is.
That's exclusive. Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker is Michael from Werribee South's favourite character so far. Because of his presence. It's funny he's using the word presence because today's Christmas Day where everyone gets a whole lot of presents. Just to create a bit of humour out of that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, what we're going to do now is we usually have the interview section, which usually entails a lot of the questions online. And can you believe it? This guy, once again, has sent me in the questions. He's going to ask me the actual questions that he sent in, and any other ones I'll just go through myself. So, what is the first question we have here, Michael?
Who rescued Grogu from the Jedi Temple during Order 66?
That is a really good question.
Thank you.
That is actually no real one individual person. It's only suspected, and the highest suspicion is actually what I showed you in reviews before. This guy, possibly as the Jedi, I don't know his Jedi name, but he's a possible Jedi that rescued him from the Jedi Temple when it was burning because of Anakin Skywalker turning to the dark side in Revenge of the Sith, which is Episode 3. Great question from Michael from Werribee South. Now, the next question, this next question is from Michael from Werribee South, which is here in Richmond. That's where I'm at. But anyway, that's in part of Melbourne as well, on the good side of the tracks. But anyway, so what's your next question there?
How will the new movie, The Mandalorian and Grogu, handle the transition from episodic series to feature film?
Well, that's another good question, and that's a debate from a lot of Star Wars fans at the moment. People have seen the first trailer and the images so far, and they're sort of seeing it as like an extension from the TV series. So it's not looking so, like cinematic. But I think the next trailer needs to have a bit of cinematic sort of feel to it, because it's just not going to inspire a lot of people to go to the theatre. But I think the transition will be okay. The Mandalorian and Grogu being the main characters in this, from the TV to the movie back to the TV, is fine. If they are the main characters, it would sort of make sense. That's my answer to that question. So what is the next question from Michael from Werribee South here?
Why is Grogu developing so slowly?
Another great question. Let's call it the Yoda species, the green alien type species. There's not a whole lot of information, but technically Grogu is 50 years old in human years, but he's very young in Yoda type species years. He's not Yoda species, I'm just sort of defining it as that. So he's still very young. We're going to have his youngness play out for a long time, which I think will be great for the merchandise for Disney, because they want to keep him young, because I think that's what it's selling about him. But I think it's developing slowly because they develop slowly as a species. Humans develop, it's like dog years or human years. We've got now sort of Yoda years. But anyway, that's the answer to that question. What's your next question? This is another question from Werribee South.
Yes.
Michael.
Why was Din declared an apostate for removing his helmet to say goodbye to Grogu, while Bo-Katan later removed hers without issue?
Well, there was issue to both, but because Din, which is the Mandalorian, he was more declared a big time rebel in to the Mandalorians. And so he was made to be used as a subject to use as an example for future. So people would sort of fear the fact, don't take your helmet off. It's just a part of their ruling in their sort of their clan, or whatever you want to call them, the Mandalorians. And yeah, so he was just made an example of. He did it out of a real emotion, being fatherly like to Grogu. But it's just not a done thing with the Mandalorians at this stage. It could change. Have to wait and see. Now the next question from Michael is this one here.
What is Moff Gideon's full plan for Grogu's blood force abilities?
Now that's a good question. A little bit old, but basically it was sort of explained in season 1. But he was trying to clone the blood of Grogu, but I think Jedis cannot be cloned. The actual force abilities can't be cloned. That's what I think is to the technicality. But he was after that to have an army of Jedi or force wielding army characters to then fight whatever they had to fight, sort of giving it an up the ante in that sort of thing. But it was sort of explained in season 1 of The Mandalorian. And so the next question from Michael from Werribee South, right here.
Is Mandalorian and Grogu movie doomed to fail?
Look, that's an okay question. Now, the Mandalorian Grogu movie at the moment in the American market is looking like it's going to do about 500,000 in their domestic market. I'm pointing the finger to them because it's a better way to calculate how successful things are in that will fall to the rest of the world. But 500,000 is really not really what a Star Wars movie makes. But it's an okay amount of money. But personally, I think it's not the amount of money this film makes. It's the quality of intriguing story. And I think it needs a more cinematic sort of feel to the look that's going to sell this to the hardcore Star Wars fans. That's what I think. Anyway.
And it will dictate how many more extra ones there going to be. Right?
Yeah, that's right. This guy's on it. He's
go.
on it. Michael from Werribee South, ladies and gentlemen. He's here all the way with that yellow top. He made it out. He made it through Melbourne with that yellow top. But anyway, now the next question I'll ask, because it's from a viewer. And this person I also know, he's a younger guy and he's a really enthusiastic guy. He's from Melbourne. It's Sterling Garvey. -C7D, I think that's what he calls himself. He's got, when Moore was cut in half in The Phantom Menace, but miraculously survived, didn't his existence contradict the rule of two by the Sith? If so, how did Palpatine allow his survival, or was Moore no longer considered a Sith Lord following the defeat of Obi-Wan Kenobi? Well, not the fact that he was split in two, which would have caused the rule of three, because it was not about that he's asking. It's more that really Moore fell from grace when he got defeated by Obi-Wan, and he was deemed to be dead. Now, I think the Emperor Palpatine would have sensed that he was still alive and would thought, well, this guy's too weak for me to keep training. Let's just throw him away. This is an opinion of mine. Let's throw him away to start again. So that's why he started developing in the next episode, which was Count Dooku. That was Darth Tyrannus. That was his. He was an old Jedi. Became Sith. So he thought he'd start again. But I think even at that point, he sort of knew really well that Anakin, when he met Anakin, he was the one that was going to really follow through. Count Dooku was there to put a bit of a bridge, I think. That's what I think. But yeah, Maul was deemed to be dead in the eyes of Palpatine and really the whole universe. He technically died, but like Star Wars does at times, if you die and you're popular, you may come back. Anyway, so the next and the final question, it's from Michael from Werribee South, who's here today, exclusive. So what is the next question?
Many Redditors have expressed dissatisfaction with the title The Mandalorian and Grogu, calling it lazy and uninspired. What do you think of this?
Well, I think in a sense it is a bit uninspired and a bit lazy, but it really just sells what they're actually doing, which is, if you called it something else, like the darkness of the universe, or, some crazy title like that, then people, I don't think, would really get if this is a Star Wars film. Because Mandalorian and Grogu are real good sell points and recognizable sort of points in Star Wars, I think that is the reason. I personally think the title's fine. I think the look of the title that we finally got in the first trailer looks a little bit kid-like, but this is obviously what they're targeting, kids. Like George Lucas back in the day targeted Star Wars to be for a 12-year-old boy. That's what he targeted it as back then. And from his words, I was in the room when he actually said it at a Star Wars celebration, and I think that was in Orlando, but I can't remember which one. I think it was. He was actually there. I can't believe I was in the same room as George Lucas, but I was there. So really the answer is it is a bit lazy, it's a bit uninspired, but it really does have people understand logically of what this film is about. I think the most, still to this day, out of Starfighter and The Mandalorian and Grogu, I'm more looking forward towards the Starfighter film. But I'm still having interest in The Mandalorian and Grogu. I just really think the next trailer really has to have that cinematic feel and gives a bit more of a story of, what could happen in, something that's interesting. Anyway, so that, can you believe it, is the show. Thanks to Michael from Werribee South.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to this guy.
Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everyone. Or everyone out there. Look, over there. Can you see? Look, over there. I think Sterling's over there. Sterling Garvey. And Michael, well, he lives that way. He's going to be heading that way in a short time. He's over here to have some Christmas celebrations with, Dave or Diz, whatever you like to say. Anyway, I'm going to put the final words to Michael to end the show.
Make sure you like this video and make sure, if you can, to subscribe.
Yeah, make sure they subscribe.
Make sure that the notification button is clicked as well, so you get the latest latest shows straight to your phone
right.
or computer or whatever.
Yeah.
And please, what's that? What you use all the time? That word.
So I say, what do I say at the end? It's something I would say it's keep.
Keep